Like, what? Trap Lord Ross, I never had really no problem with you, homie, no beef. Anything I ever had something to say to you, I said to your face. Thought me and you was respectful. But you keep like bringing me up, dog, and doing a little weird shit, and that's cool. I ain't even tripping, homie. That's how some of you white boys get down. I know you don't really mean that shit in real life. You just keep playing that little role, them little gay games. I never said nothing bad about you, dog. Anything I ever had something to say about, I said it to your face. You should have let that shit, rest and forever hold your. I never talked bad about you, Trap Lord. What's up with you, gang? Like a won't slap the Harry Potter right off the top of your head. You need to chill. Get your little alfalfa tweaked. Don't like, what's wrong with you? I never had no problems with you. I'm cool with you. You always cool. You should have been like, you know what, fam, that ain't cool. You just want to be sharp. Why can't you even say that? If you don't just try to respect certain streets you can make money off of. Respect all of them. You don't want to talk about me, bro. I ain't got nothing against you. I never did. Like, what's up with you? Anything I ever had to say to you, I said to you, man to man. He's a sucker, bro. Only thing I respected on the panel was Flakko. Flakko even was looking at the like, bro, this joke. Flakko was like, man, this shit's a joke, bro. Like, there's no way. Just don't do it, bro. Like, come on. We all move along. We can all move along, bro.
In the age of algorithmic attention, no digital stage has embodied both the promise and peril of contemporary hip-hop commentary quite like the platform built by Adam22. What began as an eccentric podcast orbiting underground rap soon mutated into a full-blown empire of interviews, live debates, and viral meltdowns. Within that environment, voices rose and fell, reputations were built and broken, and entire personalities were forged before a global audience. One of the most striking of these voices was Sharp, a co-host whose presence combined the confidence of street survival with the cadence of a preacher. For a time, he seemed inseparable from the identity of the platform itself. But as with all volatile ecosystems driven by spectacle, fracture was inevitable. Sharp's recent eruption against a fellow YouTuber, Trap Lord Ross, offers an intimate glimpse into how these fractures manifest. The outburst was not merely an isolated insult or a passing jab. It carried the weight of disappointment of a man who believed in the honor of face-to-face respect only to discover his name being toyed with for entertainment behind his back. His complaint was not that criticism existed, but that it unfolded in an underhanded manner without the dignity of direct confrontation. For Sharp, that kind of behavior represents a violation of codes more enduring than the fleeting views of social media, the codes of honor, authenticity, and reciprocity that still carry meaning in the communities he represents. To grasp the depth of Sharp's fury, one must understand the delicate position he occupied within the ecosystem of No Jumper. He was never simply a content host. He was a symbolic bridge between the street realities that hip-hop has always drawn from and the digital spectacle that now sells those realities to global audiences. When Sharp spoke, he carried with him the weight of lived experience, the scars of hustling, the cadence of a man who has navigated both shadows and spotlights. This gave him a kind of moral authority that fans gravitated toward, even as others bristled at his bluntness. To be mocked or undermined behind his back, then, was not a trivial slight. It was a violation of that hard-earned authority, an attempt to transform his presence into fodder rather than acknowledging it as the anchor it once was. Trap Lord Ross, in this drama, is less a singular villain than a symbol of a larger phenomenon, the rise of cultural archivists who thrive on dissecting, narrating, and sometimes sensationalizing the lives of rappers and their orbit. His videos reach millions, his research is meticulous, and his role in documenting hip-hop lore cannot be denied. Yet from Sharp's vantage point, there is an unsettling imbalance. The archivist profits from the narratives of men who live these realities, yet he remains outside the cost of those realities. When his jokes or jabs extend into personal disrespect, they are not simply content. They are insults delivered without the risk or reciprocity that defines the environments Sharp knows. The metaphorical violence of Sharp's words, his talk of knocking an image from someone's head or dismissing a man as playing childish games, must be read within this tension. He is asserting that certain forms of ridicule cross boundaries that should not be crossed. In a digital landscape where everything is content, he is drawing a line. Some names should be spoken with care, some histories should not be toyed with, and some men deserve directness rather than backhanded humor. Whether one agrees or not, The passion behind his response reveals the depth of betrayal he felt when discovering his name being circulated without the courtesy of honest confrontation. Yet Sharp's eruption was not only directed outward. It also revealed his ongoing disillusionment with the very platform that once elevated him. He singled out one figure, Poetic Flakko, as the only individual within the no-jumper circle who still carried himself with decency. Flakko, a controversial personality in his own right, is often derided for his eccentricities. But for Sharp, the key was not perfection. It was that Flakko still demonstrated a baseline of loyalty and good faith, even in moments of tension. In an environment increasingly defined by opportunism and betrayal, that sliver of decency stood out like a candle in the dark. To understand why this recognition mattered, we must recall the broader unraveling of No Jumper itself. Once a unified force, the platform has splintered in recent years, with departures, public feuds, and accusations tearing at its foundation. The spectacle that once drew millions has begun to cannibalize itself as former co-hosts turn into critics and internal drama spills endlessly into the public sphere. Sharp's naming of Flakko as the last good man standing is less about Flakko himself than it is about mourning the collapse of solidarity within the team. Where there was once a sense of shared purpose, there now remains only fragments, each individual scrambling for survival within the ruthless attention economy. What emerges from this drama is not simply a story of hurt feelings or personal rivalries. It is a parable about the changing nature of hip-hop media. The old rules of respect, loyalty, and direct confrontation are colliding with the new rules of digital content, where indirect slights and backhanded jokes can generate just as many clicks as genuine debate. Sharp represents the older code, a belief in face-to-face honesty, in saying one's piece directly, in not playing games with another man's name. Trap Lore Ross and others like him represent the newer code, a belief that everything is material, everything can be narrated, and nothing is too sacred to be reworked into entertainment. The clash between these codes reveals why Sharp's eruption carries such resonance. He is not simply angry at one YouTuber. He is resisting the very erosion of values he has lived by, values that once made him a compelling voice on No Jumper in the first place. His anger is not nostalgia for a lost era, but grief at watching those codes become commodified, repackaged, and mocked by those who never bore the risks they entailed. In his outburst, we hear the lament of a man who gave authenticity to a platform only to find that authenticity sold back to him as parody. At the same time, his insistence that Flakko remains decent suggests that all is not lost. Even in the rubble of No Jumper's implosion, he sees a glimmer of integrity. That recognition, however small, points to the enduring possibility of respect within hip-hop media, even amidst betrayal. It suggests that the problem is not unsolvable, that platforms need not always collapse into cynicism and opportunism. What Sharp longs for is not perfection but baseline loyalty, a willingness to treat people as more than fodder. This longing speaks to something larger than any single feud. It speaks to the human need for respect in environments built on spectacle. Whether in the streets or on YouTube, people crave acknowledgement, honesty, and reciprocity.